Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a TTC update from the point of my last video that I uploaded having to do with our trying to conceive journey. So it's going to be a little longer than normal, but we're going to get through it so I can update you on everything that's been happening. The last video that you guys saw from me was an update on basically the results of Chris's MRI and then our plan to do a timed intercourse cycle with medication. We did do that cycle. I just never uploaded any videos about it. I did do some updating on my Instagram, and if you're not following me there, I'll go ahead and leave my handle here and a link to it in the description box. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. I update there mostly every day, not every day. And then you'll get other little parts about Chris and I and our baby, our little fur babies' lives over there. I like to post a lot about the fur babies over there. So if you're interested, that's there for you. So the time when we were doing this cycle was actually a really hard time for me. I had let myself get my hopes up. I had let myself go, well, this is the first, for actual, like, going to a reproductive endocrinologist. We had a plan. We had gone through all of the mountains of blood work, and we had made it through Chris's scare, and when I say we, I mostly mean me. I got really excited, where I think anybody would. I think anybody would get excited in that situation. I mean, at least I would hope that everybody would. But I did. I got really excited. And the whole process itself was really hard for me because I didn't, even watching YouTube videos on other people going through this, unless you go through it yourself, the injections, all of that, unless you go through it yourself, you don't get the whole picture. You can't get the whole picture. Where Chris and I had gone through fertility treatments before, I had never had to do injectables. I did take some medications that made my body do funny things, weird things, but nothing like the injectables, and I'll kind of go into detail. So cycle day 1, and Flo's here, woohoo, right? Cycle day 1 was, I believe, and I'm looking at my notes, sorry. Yes, so cycle day 1 was April the 2nd, 2019. I just remember that day being like super full of hope because I had hoped and planned, and we went through everything like I just said, and I was like, okay, we're finally doing it. We're finally gonna start this journey. It's happening. And so I feel like that day was kind of super, super duper full of hope. I remember calling the doctor's office and just really excited to let them know, hey, it's my cycle day 1. Let's get this ball rolling. And so we went into the doctor's office. Actually, Chris didn't go with me on this visit. It was just a baseline ultrasound. It was the same day I started. I called them. They got me right in. I think the visit was like probably 20 minutes in all. Well, the actual ultrasound and everything. They did go through my plan with me when I was there. But Chris didn't go. I went by myself, and I just remember sitting in the waiting room going, this could be it. This could be the start of our baby journey. Not just fertility, but our actual baby journey. And so I just really remember being full of hope. So we did the baseline ultrasound. They said, yep, everything looks good to go. And then they walked me through my protocol list of exactly what we would be doing, what days we would be doing it. And then they also let me know that depending on how my body was reacting, those days and times and whatnot could change, which I already knew. We had already gone through this before, so through the plan before. So it was just kind of like a little update. And then they also wanted to let me know that if I needed any help or wanted to get advice or tricks on administering the medications, that I could call the office anytime. I have to say that my doctor's office is like, so they're a very busy office. They're one of the most popular ones here in the North Florida area. And the reason that I go to that particular place is because Dr. Fox has expertise in PCOS. I don't know, a lot of people in the PCOS community know about the website, The Diet Doctor. He does a lot of stuff having to do with that website. If you don't know what The Diet Doctor is, it's dietdoctor.com. They have lots of information on PCOS. They have lots of information on what people are now calling the PCOS diet, or people in the community are calling it the PCOS diet, because it is the most highly recommended diet for what we are doing, what we have, what's going on in our bodies. But anyway, dietdoctor.com, I'll link it below. Lots of wonderful information there, recipes, and they explain why the low carb, high fat diet is the way to go for PCOS. If you are not already doing it, go there, check it out. He has a lot to do with that website. He does a lot of interviews on there. There are some videos, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, definitely go check that out. So cycle day 2. So on cycle day 2, I had to take a home pregnancy test just to rule out any pregnancy, because the medications would obviously cause a miscarriage if I was pregnant. So they did that. It obviously was negative. So that's all that happened on cycle day 2. On cycle day 3, which was April 4th of 2019, these are all 2019, obviously. So I'll just say the dates. On cycle day 3, I took all 10 tablets of the Letrozole, or some people know it as Femera. All 10 tablets, all tablets were 2.5 milligram tablets. And I was kind of weirded out by this at first, because any of the other times I had used Femera, which was only like, I think once or twice, I can't remember exactly, but, or anytime I had heard about Femera or Letrozole being used, it was like a tablet a day, or one in the morning, one at night, blah, 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 for several days. So I called my doctor's office to make sure I was reading it correctly. And she's like, yep, all 10, just take them. And I was like, okay. So we took all 10. I only had a few side effects from the Letrozole. It's hard for me to remember because it's over a year ago. So I have my notes here, but, oh, yeah. Definitely, I had a bunch of fatigue going on with the Letrozole. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I would go to work, come home, and just couldn't do anything else. Like, that was all the energy I had for the day. And I would go and lay in bed and watch a movie and then go to bed early. Like, I was going to bed early. I'm usually somebody who goes to bed super late. Midnight, and I can function fine, get up, do what I need to do. But I was struggling. I would go to bed probably about 9 o'clock at night and sleep all the way to my alarm, and had a hard time getting up. So lots of fatigue going on there, and really bad headaches. And I don't know if the headaches were because of the medicine or because I had also gone off caffeine during this time. So nothing really happened between cycle day 4 and cycle day 9. On cycle day 9, I went in for a monitoring ultrasound, and that was April 10th. And things didn't progress as expected. When you go in for a monitoring ultrasound, basically they're checking your follicles to see if they are being affected by the medicine or how they're being affected by the medicine. Are they growing like they should? Are there a lot, you know, the number, the size, and that will determine, or that will help them determine whether or not to continue with the cycle, if they need to up your medication, give you more Letrozole, and wait a few more days before starting the injections, all that. So we went into the first one, and then things did not go as expected. Was the kind of like first like stab in the heart, really. There were a few follicles, not as many as they had hoped for. I think, I want to say, and I'm not completely positive about this, there were 5 on the left side and 6 on the right side, but none of them were very big. I think there was only 1 on the right side that, was it the right or the left? I can't remember which side. But there was one on one side that was, you know, getting bigger and was definitely the lead follicle. I don't remember the exact sizes, and I'm sorry about that. It was a little while ago. So we were told to give it a few days and wait and see. No more medication was needed. So we went back on cycle day 13, which was April 14th. And on that visit, they saw the same amount of follicles, but there were about 3 that were large enough now that they said that we could go ahead with the injectable medications. So that same night is when we started the injectable medication of Menopur, and I was to do that for 3 nights, so cycle day 13 through 16. My dose of the Menopur was 2 vials, which was 150 IU. So the injectable situation was very interesting because it came as a powder and like a little vial. And I wish I still had some, because then I could have shown you, but it's in a vial like this big, and I'll insert the picture that I took of them maybe right here. So it's a vial this big, it's got powder in it, and then they give you, they send you with a very large needle, which when I first saw it made me scared, but it's for mixing, and then the smaller needle for injecting. And then they gave you another vial of the mixing, like solvent stuff. Solvent's the wrong word, but the saline for mixing the powder. So you would pull the saline at a certain amount out of the saline vial and inject it into the powder vial, and then you would swirl it so you didn't make any air bubbles, basically, until the powder was dissolved, and then you would pull that full amount out of the vial and then inject, or you would switch the needles and then inject yourself. So learning to do that was an interesting process. That last trip that I had to, at the doctor's office, they showed me how to do it with like little fake vials and blah blah blah. So and then they had me practice, and they wouldn't let me leave until I got it right. It took me 2 times at the hospital to get it right, and then of course when you're at home you're like nervous and you're by yourself and you don't know if you're doing it right, and so I was up there and it took me a while to get them mixed, but so I gave myself enough time, because anybody who knows anything about fertility treatments or injectables, the timing is absolutely like vital. You have to do it at the same time every night, like very close to the same time every night. And by very close, I mean like within a couple of minutes. So timing was super important, so I made sure that I gave myself plenty of time when I was mixing, of course, the first time, because I wanted to make sure to do it correctly. When I injected the Menopur, it burned like crazy. And I don't know if that's like normal for everybody, if everybody gets the burning. I know that a couple of people told me that the burning was normal. I don't know the intensity of the burn, if it varies between people, but the burning was pretty bad that first night. So the side effects of the Menopur were pretty intense for me. I had fatigue again. I I had bloating, body aches, nausea, vomiting sometimes, really bad dizziness. I remember having really bad dizziness where I'd have to like lay down for a while at home. And then like my chest hurt, which is normal of that type of medication. All of these are like normal side effects. Women can range from having a few of them to none of them to all of them. And then there are a few more that I didn't mention that I didn't have, but so the side effects lasted 2 to 4 days. And then it kind of like weaned off after that. So after taking the Menopur for a few days, on cycle day 16, I went in for another ultrasound, and this was April 17th, 2019. So this was the day that my heart broke into a million little pieces. It was really hard. I had gone to this visit by myself, which in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done, but I was so hopeful and I didn't really think about it not turning out how we had wanted it to. So I lay down on the bed, they start the ultrasound, and it's taken a little while, longer than it probably would have normally. She couldn't find my ovaries, which is not ever a good sign when you're looking for follicles, because your ovaries get larger when you have multiple follicles in there. And the fact that she was having a hard time finding either my left or my right one was not a good sign to begin with. So she finally found both of them, was going back and forth, and they were doing their count thing that they do. There are two people in there when you do this type of ultrasound. The person giving the ultrasound and then the person taking down the notes of sizes and whatnot. So she's calling out the sizes, and I'm thinking to myself, those sound very similar to last time. Maybe they're newer follicles that did get bigger. And then she kept calling the normal sizes I had been hearing. There were a couple of new follicles, and then the lead follicles did not do anything. So basically the Menopur did not, or was not effective on my body. They don't know why. It could be because I didn't have a high enough dose. It could be because it just wasn't working that time. It's not that Menopur won't work for me. It's just there are other factors to consider. But the fact that there were no follicles being grown or getting bigger, she left the exam room and said she needed to speak directly with the doctor. So she spoke to the doctor to get advice on what he thought, whether or not we needed to do another round of injections of a higher dose or different medication. But in the end, the result was that they canceled our cycle. And when you're sitting in there in the doctor's office and you hear, oh, we're going to cancel this cycle and we'll reevaluate, you're thinking, well, shit, excuse my French, but you're just like, well, what the heck now? Like, what do we do now? And then, of course, they don't discuss any of that with you at that time. They're like, we'll set an appointment up for you. You'll come back, you'll speak to the doctor. It'll be another consultation, blah, blah, blah. Though the one thing that I did know is that they told me we would not be trying next cycle, that they wanted to reevaluate the plan. So not only did we hear this cycle's canceled, but the next cycle, we aren't doing anything either. So this was really hard. I tried to keep it together as much as possible while I was in the doctor's office, obviously, because I don't want to let myself go in a place where there wasn't really anybody there that could really comfort me. I mean, the people in the doctor's office could try, but I didn't have anybody there personally. So I tried to keep it together. So when I got to the car, that's when I kind of fell apart. And I called Chris. Sorry, excuse me. And I just bawled. I kind of just let it all out. And our doctor's office is like 45 minutes from our house, so Chris didn't want me driving while I was still upset, so he was like, just calm down and get home when you're calm, because, you know, I can't do anything until you're here. Like, I can't hold you, I can't hug you, I can't give you a kiss, I can't do anything until you're here, but you can't, like, don't drive until you're calm. Because I was crying unconsolably at that point. And he just listened and told me he loved me. And that moment, that's all I really could have hoped for, or what I really needed, actually. So he handled it a lot better than I did, but I could tell that it affected him as well. So a week later is when we had our follow-up appointment. So we went back to the doctor for them to let us know what the new plan of treatment was and to find out what they wanted us to do from there. I was given a prescription of Provera for several months because we weren't gonna be trying for several months, which was hard to hear. The Provera was to make sure that I was having a cycle while we weren't trying, because anytime your body doesn't do what it's supposed to and you don't have a cycle, it's not good. And that would help my body start to try and regulate as much as it could on its own. So the doctor said that we wouldn't be trying for several months. He wanted me to stay on the keto diet. He wanted me to follow the diet, try and lose a little bit more weight, and he would reevaluate in a few months. This was so hard for me to hear. I just completely fell apart. They also told us while we were there that when it was time to start again, that they could go ahead and try one more month of timed intercourse with a medicated cycle or even IUI, but he thought that my body needed IVF, possibly. That he thinks that that was probably going to be the best bet for us getting pregnant. And that was also hard to hear because IVF is so expensive, and I mean, even to this day, we don't know if that's something that would be possible for us, which is really devastating to hear. But he wants to see how my body reacts after I lose a certain amount of weight, and so that was kind of where that ended. I did not take it well. I had a really rough time. I wasn't, like, my mind wasn't right. I couldn't stick with keto. I just kind of went inward a little bit, and found it really hard to, like, stick to any sort of diet or routine or plan or anything. And things kind of just didn't start off well after that. This video is kind of long. That is kind of the update for the TTC part for this section, but I am going to do another video with kind of life updates to let you know kind of what happened life-wise after all of that happened, to kind of let you know how we got to where we are now. Make sure to click the subscribe button, and then make sure to click the notification bell and make sure that all your notifications are turned on if you are interested in hearing about the rest of that story and kind of where we are now and what we're doing as far as trying to conceive at this point. I do want to make sure that I give you both of the update videos first, and then we'll kind of go into the other videos. And I have a couple of TTC videos that are a little bit different. I want to review a couple of things that we've been doing to let you know what we kind of think about that, and give you an update on where we are to this day in life. So if you're interested in all that, like I said, make sure to click the subscribe button. It's completely free to you. You just click the little button, click the bell, make sure that your notifications are turned on, and you will get a notification whenever I upload my next video. I want to thank you so much for coming by the channel and checking this video out. Please leave me a comment down below if you like these types of videos, and give it a thumbs up if you like the video. It really helps me out on YouTube, something to do with the algorithm. So if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.